guess who's here? You probably don't know. This is not John Phillips of the Mamas and Papas. That's an inside joke. If ever there was one. And I actually talked him into doing this. Only I could talk you into embarrassing yourself like this.
I'm not sure I'm embarrassed. I'm actually fairly warm. Keeping my brain matter warmed up.
But for the interview, you're going to have to take it off.
I have to take it off.
I got to stop laughing.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
You know, it's a good story about this hat. Very quickly, I got this at a Christmas fair in Hungary.
I hope it was inexpensive.
It was really inexpensive.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good.
but it was.
Do you ever want to pay too much for that, Chuck?
I don't know. It keeps me warm. I tell you what.
Cuck Vosganian, founder, good friend, Rochmon Record Club.
You would have hard to believe.
We got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're on location, Cafe Lena.
Cafe Lena, man.
Where Rochmon Record Club is the home. Cafe Lena is the home of Rochmon Record Club.
It is for now. Yeah, it is.
Saratoga.
Yes, it is.
Hey, one that we're right on the heels of. Some viewers are going to see this in time to come Sunday, and some are not.
Yep.
Carole King is the next
Carole
one up.
King,
We got to spend a few minutes, and we need to talk about Aretha.
Yes.
And you're also expanding your empire.
Yes, I am.
You are, okay.
Slowly
so let's
but
start
surely.
with Carole King. I remember clearly 1970, 1971.
Yep.
When Tapestry, Carole King's landmark album, came out, I actually went out and bought a stereo, a new stereo, Pioneer, if anybody knows what a Pioneer is, to listen to that record, and also Buffalo Springfield, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a breakthrough record, right?
Oh, it was, you know, the thing is that I had never really got into albums made by women. Didn't hit my radar. And, but Carole King changed that. You know, the album is an extremely satisfying record. It's a great album from beginning to end. And the song quality, and then knowing who she was, because I had a bunch of singles, and knowing the great songs that she had written, the things that she had participated in, the hits she'd already had, but she hadn't recorded, just made it was such a great package for me. And the thing is, I was going through my album collection looking for the album. And I checked under, C for Carole, and K for King, and T for Tapestry, and I realized that I never actually owned the record.
Oh, no
I only had cassettes that I made off my sister's album. My sister Jenny had the album. She played it all the time. My mother loved the album, so she let her play it all the time. It was played on the living room stereo. It's just a great album.
You know, it was an album, if you go back at that time, of course, women's movement, it was a big deal. But she actually broke this glass ceiling.
Vinyl ceiling.
Vinyl ceiling, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
There's a naked quality to this record.
Yeah.
Just the pure essence of her voice. Not a great singer,
no.
Right? But a wonderful singer, and the writer. Think about that. Just her and the piano. Interesting photograph I saw. They set up a baffle to just protect the sound, to try to separate the sound from her playing the piano to her voice, so they could capture her live, and then they augmented it with a few other musicians. Right?
The whole studio was broken up like that. So she had, Korchmar was in his little thing, Taylor was in his little thing, everybody was in their little section, and she would literally direct where she wanted people to come in and go out and things like that. It was just very organic, wonderful idea of how to produce it and the way it was done, just great, fantastic.
And of course, just breaking that vinyl ceiling, right? Up to that point, nobody had ever accomplished what she accomplished.
Yeah.
I do believe it's one of the best-selling records of all time, by the way.
20 million albums?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and
that qualifies, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's before you add in digital downloads and all that other wonderful smegma that we now have.
Before we move on to Aretha. It also, there's a piece of video. Carole King and James Taylor at the Troubadour.
Yeah.
And if you ever wanted to see the magic for what was going on at that time period about the connection that musicians had, just their facial expressions alone, as she plays James Taylor's songs, for which she wrote one of them, by the way.
Yeah.
A little ditty. What was the name of that little song?
You've got a buddy, you've got a pal,
yeah, something like that, right?
Like that, yeah.
And of course, James singing on her songs.
Yeah.
And it's just really spectacular. So look, some of you will catch us in time for the Sunday show here at Cafe Lena, so make it a point. I think it might be sold out, but it's worth double checking. But we got to talk about Aretha.
Yeah.
Queen of Soul.
Queen of Soul.
You can't, you talk about people that broke through vinyl ceilings. She broke through cathedral ceilings.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Wonderful documentary about her.
Yep.
And when, you hear this frequently, right, Chuck? You'll hear that they'll say, oh, they had a gospel singer or a blues singer or a soul singer. Oh, they have their roots in the church. You watch a documentary about Aretha, at 12 years old, she owned the church.
Owned the church, yeah. She was just amazing. And the thing that's cool about doing Carole King and then doing Aretha is that they're linked.
Yeah, they are.
You Make Me
That's
Feel
right,
Like a Natural Woman
Yeah,
is a Carole King song that Aretha owns,
right.
And Aretha did that to songs. She would take a song, she did Otis Redding with Respect. She took the song and it became her song. Matter of fact, Otis said when he heard Aretha's version, he said, that woman just stole that song from me.
Yes, that's right.
And because he knew, it was never again going to be an Otis Redding song. Forever it was going to be an Aretha Franklin song, and that's the way it is.
If you go back in that time period and you realize that even Billboard, they had the soul charts and they had the pop charts.
Yeah.
And once in a while an artist would kind of cross over if they got lucky or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Aretha comes through. It's like a bulldozer coming through. She landed that. I want to talk about Respect just for a second, because when Otis Redding wrote that song, he wrote it for a different reason.
Yeah, well, he wrote it about a man's. I worked all day. I come home. I want a little sugar. I want a little action. And when Aretha took it, she's like, "Hey, I worked all day, and when I get home, I want a little respect, and then we'll get to the other stuff." And by the way, if you don't understand what respect is, let me spell it out for you.
That's right.
I mean, that's not in the Otis Redding version.
That's right.
She put that in there, and that was her arrangement. And she was a great piano player, amazing piano player. Like, you listen to some of these little bluesy licks that are in the piano, the tasty bits that we always talk about, that we like in music, the little things that happen. That's her.
Yeah,
she's a great piano player, and her sense of music, her sense of herself. Extremely confident, but not filled with ego. A diva, but not a diva in bearing. A diva only in stature.
Oh, I think that's a very important point to make. Only in stature. And you have to understand, you've probably heard this phrase too, that some great singers channel.
Yeah.
And she could channel better than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
If you listen to Aretha Franklin recordings, you know this is not charted. You know that whatever she caught her spiritually, she's off and running.
Yeah.
Hence, that's how RESPECT came out.
Yeah.
It wasn't playing at all.
No.
She just had to lay it in there at that point. Also at that time, Atlantic Records. Let's spend a second on that.
Sure.
Two guys, Ahmet Ertegun and Jerry Wexler, right?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
They were kind of experimenting, looking around. Their counterparts at Columbia Records were finding people like Dylan or whatever, and they were on the hunt for something. But it was really them. They took her to Muscle Shoals.
Yep.
They took her around, and they broke that artist.
Yeah, and can you imagine bringing Aretha Franklin down south to a recording studio to work in a studio with white musicians? The musicians didn't mind, but Muscle Shoals.
It was another situation. The reason that Muscle Shoals is infamous. Muscle Shoals, you hear so much about it, is that those guys, a bunch of white guys, by the way.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean.
They never had charts.
Yeah, no.
They just sat there and picked up on the vibe.
Right.
Remember that word?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a word you
absolutely.
use.
I'm all about the vibe.
And they off there running. It didn't make any difference if it was Aretha or the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody in between.
Yeah.
So Aretha Franklin here at Cafe Lena, December 18.
18.
Right? Yes, okay.
Yes,
Tuesday, December 18. That one's going to sell out immediately. Maybe you have to do an encore show for that one.
Maybe,
You don't
we'll
know.
see.
Also,
busy in the fourth
you're
quarter.
expanding your empire.
Yes, I am.
As usual, we're out of time, but let's talk about the Linda real quick.
Yeah, we just started doing shows down at the Linda in Albany, and it's WAMC's Performing Arts Studio. We're on the last Thursday of the month down there. And what we're doing is all our original shows are happening in Saratoga. Saratoga's home. This is where we want to do our first runs of shows. But our encore editions are all going to happen down in Albany. And it's a great room. Carl Blackwood, who runs the Linda, has done a great job of working with me, and we're gonna build it up down there and see what we can do.
Great. First one is Sticky Fingers, I think, on
Yes, Sticky
29th.
Fingers on the 29th.
So that's a Thursday, right?
Yes,
So you're
yes, it
doing
is.
Thursdays down there.
Thursdays down there.
Okay.
Right.
Tuesdays,
Give us a little different night.
Yeah, Tuesdays at Cafe Lean and Thursdays down at the Linda.
Yes.
And then you're doing Who's Next.
Who's Next?
I haven't seen Who's Next. You haven't done it here.
No, I did.
okay.
No, Who's Next we did at UPH before we moved over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a great show.
I don't know if I remember that one or not. You're doing so many great shows.
Yeah, you don't remember a lot of stuff though, Jesse. So, you and I both, if we're not looking at it, we don't remember
Should
it.
I get one of those hats? Maybe keep
maybe
everything
the hat,
in
keep
there?
it warm. Yeah,
that's
there you go.
Great to see you, pal,
Jesse,
as always.
always good. Thank
Well,
you so much.
another interview.
Yeah.
We got another one
In
down.
the can, baby.
Okay, and this one only came in 10 minutes. See this interview again, head to our website, Look TV, online. What you got? Maybe I want it.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Hey,
Take
cat.
care.
Oh, I thought
Take
hey,
care.
cat.
No,
Oh.
take care.